Welcome to our final lesson of data handling. And this is where we're going to put everything we have learned together. So we're learning how to read and collect data. I can explain what data handling is used for. I can collect data using a questionnaire and I can put the data into a table using tallies. I can draw a pictograph to display data, including using a scale. I can draw a bar or line graph with all the relevant headings and appropriate scale. And I can read pictographs, bar graphs, and line graphs and answer questions about them. So, this is our success criteria, which we've covered over the past few weeks. And today, you're going to put all of that into practice. So, are you able to explain what data handling is used for? Pause this video now and explain what, in your own words, what you think data handling is used for. So, as I've said over the past few weeks, the purpose of data handling is if you identify a problem or you need more information about something, then you need to collect data. Now, that data is collected most likely through a survey, questionnaire, and then you collect all the data. It can then be put into a table and a graph, and from that, you're able to read the data, which you can then analyse. So you can say, okay, well, I can see this amount of people like that, but they don't like this. Why is that? Or when I spoke about the walk to school one, it allowed us to see why are people why are there less people walking to school on certain days than others. And you can then evaluate that and think, well, what could I do to improve that? Or what can I do to reach the goal that I want? Okay. So, for example, a crisp company might send out a survey to ask people what their favourite flavours or crisps are. And that would then inform them to make more of a certain flavour or to come up with a new flavour or maybe to stop selling a flavour that people don't really like. So sometimes that happens when, in fact, recently I found this out. Quavers are now releasing prawn cocktail and salt and vinegar, and these were flavors that were out years ago, and they've brought them back. Now that might be because they've in their surveys or in their data they've realised there's been a drop in sales, so they've brought these new flavors of crisps out to pick up their sales again because it make people think, oh, not seen those flavors for a while, or I want to try those. So that's what data handling is usually used for. So, by now you should be able to collect data using a questionnaire and put data into a table. So this is your task, okay? The whole task is throughout this PowerPoint. So watch the PowerPoint first. I'll go through each step of the task and then you can start. So the first thing you need to do is to think about something you want to gather data on. So here are some ideas. Maybe you want to find out the favourite colour in your family and friends or your class. You can always, if you want to know anything about the class, just post on your class notebook and I'll put a poll up, or you can post straight onto Teams, okay, so that everyone can answer. So it could be favourite colour, crisps, chocolate, games, sport. It could be the birthday month of everyone in your family or your class. It could be what pets people have or what pets they'd like to have. It could be recording the temperature over the week. Now you could get that information online, and I'm more than happy to direct you to that if you wanted to do it on that, and to find that data. It could be mood over your mood over the week. So you could record out, if you think about our emotion works cogs, the grey cog talks about the rating of our mood. So you might want to choose happiness and each day rate your happiness out of 5. Okay? Or maybe you want to record how much time you're spending on a screen. So every time you go onto a screen, you can note down when you started and when you finished, and then work out how many hours or minutes you spent each day and see if there is a change over the week. So if you wanted to choose one of the first three. This is a table that I've got to show you of how you could put that data in there. So I've chosen the crisps one. So if you were to ask your family or the class, what's your favourite flavour of crisps? Here's 3 options, but you might have more than that. You would then put it into a table with the options, the tally marks, and then the total. If you were looking to do one of the other ones where you're recording something over a period of time, and you're therefore likely to put that into a line graph, your table would look more like something like this. So you've got the day and then the amount of time for each one, okay? Or the mood over the week, it would be out of the rating of each one, okay? So that's your first part of the task, is to think of the question that you want to gather the data on. You need to gather the data and then put it into a table. So I'm not expecting you to do this in one day. You might do it over a week or more. You just do it in your own time. Task 2 is to decide which graph would suit your data best. So as I said, if you want to choose something like your favourite colour, crisps, chocolate, birthday months, pets, that's more suitable for a pictograph or a bar graph, okay? You would not use a line graph for that. And, oh sorry, I made a mistake on this slide. If you wanted to do temperature over the week or moods over the week or time spent over the week, please ignore what's written there. That is suitable for a line graph, okay? A line graph. You would, because you're recording it over time. So, once you have came up with your question, you've gathered the data and put it into a chart. If you think that's enough and you think I'm going to find everything too difficult, then doing it up to this point where you've put it into a table, that is fine. You can finish it there, okay? If you want to challenge yourself and then put your data from a table into a graph, you could choose a pictograph. So remember, a pictograph is where you draw a picture for each one. So say it was what's your favourite fruit. An apple would represent one person. Or if you had a lot of people, which is quite unlikely to be fair, then you would need to use a scaled one like I've got on the right here. So there was lots of people that had participated in this one, so they've had to make each circle worth 2. So half a circle equals 1. Okay, so that's one option to put your data into a pictograph. Or you might want to put it into a bar graph. Okay, so remember, if you're using a bar graph, you need to have your title. So in this case, it was How We Travel to School, but yours might be the most popular flavour of crisps. You need to have your axis title. So it would be number of people on the left, and then at the bottom the whatever it is. So it might be crisp flavours, and then you put your categories underneath each bar. Again, you need to think about your scale. Is it just going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? That's much easier. I would suggest you do that. Or do you want to challenge yourself and put it in a scale going up in 2s? And the hardest one to do would be the line graph. So if you want to take that challenge, go for it. So if you want to record data of something over time, then you want to put that into a line graph. So remember, I showed you this one where it was how much shadow was over a patch of garden over time. So you need to have your chart title. So if it was that you wanted to record how much time you've been on a screen, your title would be screen time over the week. The measurement would be your days of the week. And what is being measured over time. So that would be hours you would put there. Okay, and you need to decide what scale that's going to be again. And then the last part, if you're going to do the whole task, now please remember, as I said, you could just do task 1, you could just do task 1 and 2, 1, 2 and 3, or you can do all 4. It's completely up to you. I can read pictographs, bar graphs, and line graphs and answer questions about them. So your last part of the task is to think of 2 questions about your graph for me to answer. So see if you can make them really hard. See if you can make me really struggle. That's what you'd like to do, I'm sure. So remember, there's this example. It could be how many people like red, or how many people like whatever your graph is on. How many don't like, what's the most popular one. So these are types of questions that you could write. So, as I said, choose how many tasks you want to work up to, and I have also put on Class Notebook how to use the sort of graph paper, it's not graph paper as such, but how to make a graph on Notebook. And I've also attached graph paper if you have a printer. So if you have a printer, you can print out the graph paper to draw your graph. If you don't, you can do it on Class Notebook, and I've explained how to do that on there, so you can go on there to have a look. Looking forward to seeing your graphs or your tables, and as I said, if you have anything you want to ask the class, just post it onto Teams or Class Notebook and to gather your information. Thank you for listening.